Indictment. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, the grand jury of Bexar County, state of Texas, duly organized, impaneled, and sworn as such at the May term AD 2023 of the 226th Judicial District Court of said county in said court at said term, do present in and to said court that the county and state aforesaid and anterior to the presentment of this indictment. Count 1, paragraph A. On or about the 16th day of February 2023, Marco Moreno Vasquez did intentionally and knowingly cause the death of an individual, namely Duniel Valadares Fernandez, hereinafter referred to as complainant, by shooting the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely a firearm. Paragraph B. On or about the 16th day of February 2023, Marco Moreno Vasquez, with intent to cause serious bodily injury to an individual, namely Duniel Valadares Fernandez, hereinafter referred to as complainant, did commit an act clearly dangerous to human life that caused the death of Duniel Valadares Fernandez by shooting the complainant with a deadly weapon, namely a firearm. Count 2. On or about the 16th day of February 2023, Marco Moreno Vasquez, hereinafter referred to as defendant, did knowingly discharge a firearm at and in the direction of a habitation, and the defendant was reckless as to whether the habitation was occupied, in that the defendant failed to make adequate inspection and inquiry regarding the presence of others therein, against the peace and dignity of the state.
To those two counts, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
No, not guilty.
All right, you may be seated. State, do you have opening statements?
February 16th of 2023 started out as any other day. Now, you're going to hear that there was a home that was located in the Camelot #2 neighborhood, located here in Bexar County, Texas. Now, the address at issue in this case is 7718 Winsford Drive. Now, the owners of 7718 Winsford Drive were Gerardo Salas and Maria Zubieta. And they were the owners of that property, and 7718 Winsford Drive was a duplex. And so it was 7718 and it was conjoined to 7716. Maria and Gerardo also were the owners of 7716 Winsford Drive. And they rented 7716 Winsford Drive to a lady by the name of Lorraine Badillo. Now, Maria and Gerardo had a person that was living at the property at 7718 Winsford Drive with them. That is the complainant in this case, Duniel Fernandez Valadares. Okay. Now, the day proceeded as a normal day. You'll hear testimony from Maria. She was up in Houston, and Duniel was there at the location, 7718 Winsford Drive. And so Maria stays in Houston. She leaves early in the morning, and she doesn't get back to San Antonio until it's already dark. Now, when Maria and Gerardo are on their way back to their residence at 7718 Winsford Drive, they receive a call from Lorraine that's alerting them that she believes that something has happened. And what Lorraine is going to tell you is that while she was in her residence at 7716 Winsford Drive, she heard about 4 gunshots go off, but she didn't see anything. She didn't see anybody that was there. But she called Maria to see, hey, are you all okay? And Maria said, hey, we're not there. We'll be there in a second. Now you're going to hear from Maria when she walked in to her residence. You'll see photos of the 7718 Winsford Drive. And the way that you get to the home is you have to walk through a fence to get into the inside of the home. And when you walk towards the front door of the home, there's a covered patio garage area that has a pool table. And when Maria and Gerardo walked into that area, they found Duniel face down, suffering from gunshot wound. And so Maria And although they don't speak English, so they go and make contact with Lorraine and they say, hey, please contact 911 for us. BCSO, Bear County Sheriff's Office deputies make the scene. They observe Duniel face down. They immediately get him turned over and attempt to provide life-saving measures to him. EMS and fire get there and they transport Duniel to SAMC, and he is pronounced deceased there. Okay. So patrol officers make the scene. You'll hear from Deputy Maxwell. He's going to tell you about the scene as he encountered it and things that he did at the scene. And also follow-up units made the scene. Okay, you're going to hear from homicide detectives that made the scene, as well as crime scene investigator that processed that scene. And you're going to hear that some evidence was found. And that evidence is consistent of 4 shell casings that were located, as well as a home DVR system that was present. Okay, those items were seized as evidence, but from that point on, it was kind of like a whodunit, right? And so homicide detectives, you're gonna hear from Detective Waits. He was the lead prosecutor, the lead investigator in this case. And he is able to get the footage from Maria from the DVR, and he starts going through this footage and he identifies 2 individuals that are there at the location during the shooting. And he identifies a suspect vehicle. Now, in the DVR from the home, you can just see the make and model. You can't see the license plate. But what you'll come to learn is that on Winsford Drive, it's one way in and one way out. Okay, so when you go in, you turn off from Montgomery Road onto Winsford, and when you're coming out from Winsford, you have to use that Montgomery Road exit. And Bear County Environmental Services had placed a pole cam at the corner of that intersection that they gave Detective Waits access to. And Detective Waits, he makes the timeline and he finds the motor vehicle, that suspect motor vehicle that was there at the 7718 Winsford Drive during the shooting. And so from that, he's able to obtain a clear license plate and he starts doing investigation. And the owner of that suspect motor vehicle, it's a Tahoe, Chevrolet Tahoe. And the license plate comes back to an owner of Juan Carlos Ortega Murillo. And so they start doing more research, and you'll hear from Juan Carlos, and you're going to hear that about 6 months prior, he had entered into an agreement with this defendant, Marco Moreno Vasquez, and he sold him that motor vehicle. So law enforcement continues to do additional investigation, and they determined that this defendant's address is 74 Kimberly Lane. It's located in Poteet, Texas, in Atascosa County. And so the Bear County Sheriff's Office enlists some help from Atascosa deputies to go out there and sit on the property. And at this time, they're looking for that suspect motor vehicle. And when they make it out to the 74 Kimberly Lane address, what they find is that suspect motor vehicle with a board covering the license plate. So they sit on the residence, and eventually the defendant comes out of that residence along with his wife, his small child, and his co-defendant, Adis Fernandez Rivas. Now they take off and they are shortly pulled over and taken into custody, and the lead homicide detectives take interviews from both Adis and the defendant. And after that, they obtain arrest warrants for both of them for the offense of murder. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the state is not going to be able to prove to you that this defendant, Marco Moreno Vasquez, was the shooter, okay? What we are going to be able to prove is that he knew the victim, Duniel, that Duniel owed him a debt, and that on that night, he chose greed over humanity, and that he directed Adis to shoot. You're also going to hear that he was also in possession of a firearm when they went to confront Duniel for that monetary debt. You'll also hear that when officers executed a search warrant on the 74 Kimberly Lane address, that a firearm was found. And it was hidden in the fridge in a container that was filled with pinto beans. And it was in a plastic bag inside of that container containing pinto beans. And so Bear County Sheriff's deputies seize that firearm and they send it to the lab, and you're gonna hear from David Pendleton, who's a firearm expert, and he's gonna tell you that the shell casings that were found at the scene of 7718 Winsford Drive match the firearm that was located in this defendant's home in his fridge. And you're also gonna hear that DNA swabs were taken from the defendant and his co-defendant, and a comparison was made to the firearm, but that was only to Adis Hernandez Rivas. Okay. This defendant's DNA was not located on the firearm, but like I told you all, we're not seeking to prove to you that he was the shooter, but he is guilty of the offensive murder by the law parties because he sought to assist in the
object.
commission.
This is summations improper opening statement.
All right, the objection will be sustained.
And I'm confident when you review all of the evidence that you will find them guilty yes charged. Thank you.
All right, defense. Do you have any opening statements?
We'll reserve our opening for later, Judge.
All right, state, you may call your first witness.
They called Deputy Maxwell.
Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you may take a seat. There should be a square gray microphone up there. If you will put that somewhere on your shirt. Yes, it's for the court reporter to hear. All right, if you'll spell your last name, please.
Maxwell.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Thank you. Deputy Maxwell, how are you currently employed?
With the Bear County Sheriff's Office,
And how long have you been with the Bear County Sheriff's Office?
about 10 years.
Are you a certified peace officer?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is your current title and assignment at the Bear County Sheriff's?
I'm a deputy with the traffic safety unit.
Can you please explain to the jury, did you have any prior law enforcement, prior experience prior to joining the sheriff's department?
No, ma'am.
Did you have any military?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what was that?
I did some time with the US Marine Corps.
Okay, and can you explain to the jury the training that you had to undergo to become a deputy with the sheriff's office?
First of all, you have to go through the detention academy. At the time, that's what it was. I did that for several months or a couple months, where I started working in the jail. Worked in jail for about 5 years. In between that, between classes, basically field training, like first aid, mental health, and all that other stuff. Some prerequisites that the state requires.
Okay, and eventually when you go to make the transition from working in the jail as a detention deputy to being on patrol, is there like a test that you have to take to complete that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now you said that you're currently a deputy with a traffic unit, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Prior to joining the traffic unit, did you have any other titles or assignments with the sheriff's office?
No, I'm just a patrol deputy.
Okay. And were you employed as a patrol as a patrol officer with the sheriff's office on February 16th of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall what side of town you were working?
Yes, it's on the Congress side of town.
Okay. And what shift did you work at that time?
Second shift.
And how long did that run?
Usually from either 2 to 10 or 3 to 11, just depending on what schedule they have on. So about 8 hours.
Okay. And can you explain to the jury in that role, what were your duties, like responding to calls for service, or what did that entail?
So basically during that time, during that shift, primarily just answer calls for service. Also being proactive for any kind of like, problems in the area that we run into, but mainly calls for service.
Okay. And on this date, were you in uniform
Yes, ma'am.
and were you in a marked patrol unit?
Yes.
And were you working solo or with a partner?
I was with the partner that day.
Do you recall his name?
Yes, Deputy Reyes Pettis.
Okay. And were you dispatched to 7718 Winsford Drive in San Antonio, Texas, 78239?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall what type of location that was?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I know it was a resident.
Okay,
But that's all I can remember.
okay, so residential area, is
Yes.
that correct? And was it located in Bear County?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and do you recall why you were dispatched there?
There was a call for a shooting in that
Oh.
area.
And is there a like case number that's assigned to those calls when you work them?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Do you recall that specific case number in this case?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. Did you write a report at that time?
Yes, once I was done with the scene, I wrote a report, but I did write a report for that day.
Okay, and would being able to review a copy of that report help refresh your memory as to case number?
Yes.
Deputy Maxwell, can you take a look at what I've marked for identification purposes as State Exhibit A? And does that appear to be a fair and accurate copy of the report that you created on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so can you please tell the jury what was the case number that was associated with the call?
The case number is gonna be 2023 dash ECSO dash 003526.
Okay. And can you describe to the jury the scene that you encountered upon arrival at that location?
Once I got to the location, parked out the vehicle, I think there was two women out there. They were trying to point us to the area where a male was supposedly shot. I think
Judge, can you have the microphone closer to his mouth? I can barely hear him.
No, it's the microphone that is in front of you.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
if we
Oh,
could clip this here also with the other one. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Judge.
Oh, sorry. So once we were on scene, there was two women that were pointing us to the location of a
Sorry, Judge.
No problem. And if you just make sure you keep your voice up so everyone can hear us.
yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
So once we got there, two women were pointing us to the location of the male that was supposedly shot. I think Reyes was in front of me, I was behind him. Walked in between these two cars into basically like a yard. Got there, there was a male that was face down, unresponsive. So really, we checked the area and then we started doing CPR on him because he wasn't responding to us. I think once I got there, I saw him with a gunshot wound to his chest or abdomen area. So we get there, Reyes cuts off his clothes, starting CPR until EMS arrives.
Okay. And then I guess once EMS arrived, did they kind of take over those life-saving measures?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recall, did the victim stay on scene or was he transported to a hospital?
He was transported.
After he was transported, what became kind of the priority of the scene there?
It was a preserved crime scene, basically.
And in preserving the crime scene, were there other deputies that were kind of like searching for evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and do you know, did you accompany a deputy that was identifying evidence?
Yes.
And do you recall what evidence was identified by that deputy?
I know we found some, shell cases.
No, I'm gonna object to him testifying as to he can only testify as to what he has personal knowledge of.
All right. If you'll only testify to what you have personal knowledge of.
Okay, did you observe that other additional deputy, identify those shell casings that you're speaking of?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you personally identify any possible witnesses that needed to be interviewed at your time on scene?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but, no, I don't remember off the top of my head.
I guess you wanna take a look at here, refresh your memory on
Yeah.
Exhibit A.
Okay. Could you repeat your question again? Sorry.
So did you personally conduct any interviews with any possible?
Oh, no.
Okay, was that left to other deputies that
Yes,
were?
All right, so just a second. So to make it easier for the court reporter, you're gonna have to wait till whoever is asking a question finishes their question.
So that job was kind of left to other deputies on scene, is that correct? Okay, and so after those shell casings were identified, what role did you take on scene?
It's what's called a scribe.
And what is the purpose of that?
Basically, you're just writing down, everybody that comes in and out of the crime scene. And then that's gonna be used later in the report. Basically, it's just to keep track of people who's coming in and out of the crime scene.
And were additional follow-up units contacted to meet the scene?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall what units those were?
I know it was CID, which is our, basically it's investigators. And then crime scene, they go around and take pictures of evidence. Of course, of the deceased and the whole area.
Okay. And other than what we discussed, you being described and everything like that, did you do anything else substantive on scene? Okay. And were you equipped with a body worn camera on this day?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm gonna show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 1. Can you tell me, do you recognize what that is?
Yes, excuse me.
And what is State's Exhibit number 1?
That's, my body worn crime footage on the CD disc.
Okay, and have you previously viewed the contents of State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, ma'am.
And are they a fair and accurate representation of the scene as it was on the offense scene?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, except to comply with legal rules, has this footage been altered in any way? At this time, the state office exhibit number 1 and tenders the same to defense firms.
Take them on one video.
Yes.
So Deputy Maxwell, the State's Exhibit 1, the video that they showed you, are these your initials on it?
Yes.
When did you view this video?
I believe
This disc, when did you view it?
that disc, about, maybe last week, I think.
Okay,
I don't remember the date, but we did review it.
and you viewed it in its entirety,
Yes.
and that's when you initialed it?
Mhm.
No objection.
All right, State's Exhibit number 1 is admitted without objection.
Permission to publish.
Granted.
Deputy Maxwell, can you explain to the jury what they're seeing currently in State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, ma'am. So me and Deputy Reyes just got on scene. We're looking for the address, and this is where, I think 2 women are calling us over right now. So we're walking back here between the trucks. Yeah, they're pointing us to the backyard where the deceased is at. So we walk around, I see him on the ground. Let's do a quick look around and make sure no one else is back there. We roll into his back, he's rolling on the side, or his stomach. And I think at this time, I'm calling the radio, he's got a gunshot to his chest. Raises, no, assessing him. And just double checking, make sure no one else is coming up on us. He's gonna get I think some scissors so I can cut off his clothing, and get some else from him.
And during this time, did you ever observe any signs of life from the complainant?
No. He's not responding to me. And Deputy Reyes is, he's cutting off his shirt, he goes gloves on, and then we start doing some, life-saving measures. Here, I start, CPR. I think until he mesmerized. I think at one point Reyes takes over, but we do that until he mesmerized.
And those individuals that we see working in the background, are those members of the sheriff's office or the EMS?
It's EMS at this point.
Just for the sake of time, we're gonna fast forward a little bit, but, you said after you completed doing CPR and then did another deputy take over?
Yes, Deputy Ray, I think, took over out to kind of help me out. So I think I was getting tired. Then I think EMS took over after that.
And is this where we can see that the complainant custody of his body is transferred, to EMS to be transported to the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
And while you were on scene, did you all identify any suspects or anything like that on scene?
No, ma'am.
And what is that deputy that we see doing?
He's, at this time, he's marking where the, shell casings are at.
And you're present and observing that at that time, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so at the time that you go to your patrol vehicle and obtain the pen and paper to take the prescribed duties, in your review of the video, is there anything else that occurred on the video besides you just standing by and acting as a scribe?
No, yeah.
You have to win.
Good afternoon, Deputy. So do you recall what time you got the call to go to this shooting?
I don't remember the time. I know it was towards the end of my shift, so it was probably around like 8 or 9.
Is it in your is it in your report?
Um. Not the time, so it must.
Okay, and so I've been handed a copy of your report. It's it's 7 pages in front of you. That states Exhibit A, correct?
Yes, sir.
Of the 7 pages, is this all input that you put in?
Not only, no, sir.
Okay. So of the 7 pages marked 1 through 14 of 33, which of those did you input? Is your work?
Page 14. Page 14 that I see, doesn't timestamp anything else other than that.
Okay, so only page 14 then, right?
Yes, sir.
And on page 14, do you have a time that you marked down as to when you received this call?
No, sir, just the date.
So you have the date, and that's February 16th of 2023, correct?
Yes, sir.
And on your report, your 1 page, that's your actual report, it has report time 22:56. That's 10:56 PM, correct?
Correct.
But when did you enter that? After everything was done and you had time to sit down and put your report in?
Yes, sir.
Is that the actual time when you entered this at 10:56 PM?
Yes, that's probably the time I entered the report.
And approximately how much time, we saw in the video when you first arrived, how much time were you at the scene?
I was probably there about 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours maybe.
So that means you arrived at approximately 7:56,
Yes, sir.
if your estimation's correct.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you were in the Marine Corps, did they teach you how to write reports?
No, sir.
But when you were you went to the academy, right?
Yes, sir.
For Bear County?
Yes.
Did they teach you there how to do a report?
Yes, sir.
What did they teach you about making the report? What's the purpose of it?
To actually document everything that happened.
Yeah.
Basically, yes.
And you're not expected to put everything that happened, just the important stuff, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what's the whole reason to memorialize the action you took at a crime scene?
What do you need more?
What is the actual goal in creating this report? For what purpose?
This is a document, especially since I was one of the first ones there. It's just to document what I saw and what happened.
Well, I mean, everyone that should have at that scene should have done a report, correct?
Correct.
It's anytime you take official action.
Yes.
But the goal is to memorialize it so that if you have to come to court, because you're not going to remember everything on every single case, correct?
Correct.
This is from 3 years ago.
Yes, sir.
So there's no way to remember everything unless you have an incredible memory or something just stood out, right?
Correct.
How many cases have you handled since 3 years ago?
Many.
Hundreds,
Yes, sir.
maybe even thousands? But when you're writing your report, you want to put down all the pertinent facts, correct?
Correct.
Like time and dates.
Mhm.
Okay. So you and your partner Perez or Bettis are the first on the scene, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you get there, it looked like you had to go through a bunch of cars. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
When you get to the location, these two women are pointing out where to go. Yes?
Yes, sir.
And I mean, that's pretty important, correct?
Yes, sir.
And did you put their names down in your report?
I did not because I did not speak with the females.
Okay. And so in getting to the location, which is by the pool table in the garage, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you have to go through any fences, any gates, anything like that?
Just that one gate.
Okay. And was the gate locked or unlocked?
It was unlocked.
Do you know who unlocked it?
No, sir.
So at the crime scene, when you first got there, there's only these two women,
Yes, sir.
no one else.
No.
And the victim, of course.
And the victim, yes, sir.
Who were the officers to arrive right after you?
I believe it was my supervisor.
What's his name?
It was at the time. It was Sergeant Prosser, I believe.
Sergeant.
Prosser.
Okay. And was he alone or with someone?
I believe it was someone else. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm sure there was other officers there. I just don't remember.
And when he got there, did he take control of the scene?
Yes, sir.
Was he telling you what to do?
Yes.
What did he tell you to do?
Once the scene was secure, he told me to start doing the scribe.
And when you say secure, what does that mean?
Just make sure there's no one else in the area, no immediate threats, because it was a shooting.
So when these two women directed you to the victim on the floor, right? What did the two women do? Did they stand there? Did they walk off? What?
Last time I saw them, they were just standing out to the side.
Who gets there after Sergeant Prosser?
I believe it's CID, I believe.
Tell the jury what CID stands for.
CID is basically just our criminal investigation division. They're just investigators.
They're basically detectives, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
And who was the detective that arrived at the scene that time?
I don't remember off the top of my head who it was.
So as the scribe, do you have a pad and a pen and you're writing stuff down?
Yes, sir.
Is that attached to your report?
I think so. Toward the end, I just put in there that I just wrote down the names who went into the crime scene, because I think Deputy Medellin took over at the time, toward the end of my shift.
So Detective Medellin became the scribe?
He wasn't a detective at the time, but he was the officer that relieved me.
And so you just handed your paperwork over to him for him to continue?
Once I was relieved, he took over the scribe because there's still ongoing investigation. Yes, yes, sir.
Wouldn't it have made sense to have a copy of your work as the scribe attached to your report to show what you did?
Yes.
To your knowledge, were you, not anyone else, but were you able to ascertain how long the victim had been laying there on the ground?
No, sir.
How many spent shell casings were found at that location?
I don't know.
Would that have been something that you put down in the scribe paperwork or not?
No, sir.
Sort of let the video speak for itself?
Mhm.
But it looked like more than 4 were collected, correct?
Yes, sir.
But you weren't part of that, correct?
Correct.
While you were there securing the scene, did anyone else try to come onto the scene or the location? Not employed by Bear County sheriffs?
Not to my knowledge, no, sir.
Did you find a weapon at the scene?
No, sir, not me.
Did you check the victim to see if he had his wallet with him?
I don't think so. No, sir.
You don't think he did, or you didn't check?
I didn't check.
Did you check to see if he had any money on him?
No, sir.
Because don't you normally do that to see if the victim is the victim of a robbery?
Yes, sir. But he wasn't a victim of a robbery. That's my knowledge.
You didn't check.
I didn't check. No.
Did you check to see if he had any defensive wounds?
No, sir. I was just checking to see if he had any wounds at all.
You saw none.
Just the gunshot wound.
Let me ask you, looking at that video, it's awful dark in that garage. Did you ever check to see if there were lights you could turn on?
No, sir.
Why not?
I wasn't thinking about that at the time. I was
Would it have
reading.
helped you to look and see what was around him?
That's why I have my flashlight, sir.
But I mean, even on the video with the flashlight, it's still pretty dark in there, right?
Well, in person, it was bright enough for me to look. So.
Did you check to see if he had his cell phone on him?
I didn't check, but I do remember seeing his cell phone.
Where?
I think it was in either his right or left. It's in, I think his right hand. I think, but he had it in his purse, on his purse.
To your knowledge, were there any phone calls made by that victim?
Not to my knowledge.
Did you check the phone to see if he called 911, if he called EMS?
No, sir. I didn't check.
Just like you escorted another officer around the scene to collect spent shell casings, did you direct anyone to recover that phone out of the victim's hand?
Not me, no, sir.
Did you check to see if he had any drugs on him?
No, sir.
Did you go with the EMS vehicle, the ambulance, to the hospital with the victim?
No, sir, I did not.
Stayed at the scene?
Yes, sir.
And then when you were done, which was approximately 10:56 PM, how long, did you drive off and do your report somewhere else? Or did you stay there and do your report, if you remember?
I did my report at the substation, I believe.
So you left the scene, went to the substation, did your report there in the patrol vehicle? Or you went inside and sat at a desk?
I sat on desk, sir.
Did you have any involvement with this case after that?
No, sir.
Nothing further, Judge.
State?
So Deputy Maxwell, regarding the scribe, Mr. Garcia asked you if that was attached to your report, and you stated that it was not, is that correct?
Correct.
And so while you were on scene, were you typing out who was coming on scene as the scribe, or were you handwriting it?
I was handwriting it.
And I'm gonna. So I'm going to show you, and I previously tendered what's been labeled as State's Exhibit C for identification purposes. Is that a fair and accurate copy of the list that you created on scene?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that a fair and accurate list of everybody who made the scene that night?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And now regarding, you stated that the time was not on your report, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And in your duties with the sheriff's office, you're familiar with what is referred to as the incident detail report or key card, is that correct?
Correct.
And regarding that, any officer that is assigned to the call can make entries on the key card, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And as well as with the key card, that would help you to refresh your memory as to what time the call came out and when the first units responded, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, Deputy Maxwell, so I'm going to show you what has been labeled for identification purposes as State's Exhibit C. Can you take a look at that and tell me if that is the incident detail report that was associated with the call that we're referring to?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and can you refresh your memory as to the time that the call came out? Or the date and time?
So, February 16, 2023 at 8:25 PM.
8:25 PM?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so when did the first units arrive on scene?
The first unit. First unit arrived. We arrived at 8:28 PM,
Okay,
according to this.
and then you've already established that you completed writing your report at about, what, about 10:56 PM?
10:56, yes, ma'am.
Okay, we possibly.
Defense?
So it was more like 2.5 hours as opposed to 3, correct?
Correct.
And it only took you 3 minutes to arrive on scene.
Yes, sir.
Nothing further.
Is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Subject to recall, Judge.
All right, and I'm so sorry, State, did you have any
No.
re-return? All right, just make sure you're available if either party wishes to recall you. And the exhibits, if there are any that are up there, if you'll hand them to the court reporter
Yes, ma'am.
and leave the microphone behind you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, and also leave behind the interpreter's microphone.
Yeah, thank
Oh,
you.
I think I looked
All right, thank you. All right, state, you can call your next witness.
The state called Calvin Anderson.
All right, there are two, good afternoon. There are two microphones up there. If you put both of those somewhere on your shirt for me, please. They're the square ones. That's for the court reporter to be able to hear you.
Put both on.
Yes. And the other one is for the interpreter. If you could just say the word testing for me.
Testing, testing.
Thank you. Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. If you'll state your name for the record and spell your last name, please.
My name is Calvin Anderson, last name Anderson.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Mr. Anderson, what is your current employment status?
I'm retired.
Can you please tell the jury what you did before you entered retirement?
I was employed with the Bear County Sheriff's Office as a crime scene technician
And how long were you with the sheriff's office?
for 34 years.
And can you explain to the jury, the training that you had to undergo to become a member of the sheriff's office?
This requires that you attend classes, an academy, basically an academy, where they teach you procedures, policy and procedures and tactics and things like that. That's what's basically what's going to get you started, as well as the prepare you for the assignment that you're going to be having.
And during your 34 years with the sheriff's office, did you spend all of those years as a crime scene technician?
Did not.
Okay, can you explain to the jury any prior assignments that you had in the sheriff's office?
I began working with the Sheriff's Office in 1990. At that time, I was assigned to the detention bureau or the jail. I worked the jail for approximately 9 years. I was offered an assignment in patrol. I accepted that assignment. I worked in patrol, answering call for service for approximately 9, maybe 10 years. While in patrol, I was also requested to go to, at the time, called the gang task force. I worked the gang task force for approximately 2.5 years before it was disbanded under that current administration. I went back to patrol briefly, and again, I was offered an assignment in the traffic unit or DWI traffic enforcement unit. Again, I accepted that position, worked there for approximately 2 years, and went back to patrol. And not long after that, position came open with the crime scene unit. A friend that was in the unit at the time said that some of the supervisors had eyes on me. They liked my work ethic, and they wouldn't mind having me on board, basically. He said the position would be coming available if I was interested in it, go and have a conversation with them. And subsequently, I was accepted into the unit, and I stayed there approximately 13 years prior to retiring.
Now, did you have to undergo any additional training to become part of the crime scene unit, or how do you cover that in your academy training?
A lot of the training that you get in the crime scene unit, they come from classes that are offered by a couple of different organizations that we use. One is TEAS, Texas. I'm sorry, I'm having a brain lapse. engineering extension, Texas Engineering Extension Service. Okay, it's one of the services that we use. We also have a couple other organizations that we use for photography and things like that. As well as on the job training. You have guys that have been there a little bit longer than you, they teach you how to collect and process evidence. And they have classes for that as well.
And so what was your primary duty as a member of the crime scene unit?
Our primary duties as a member of the crime scene unit is to assist the investigators at their request in collecting, preserving evidence, and processing crime scenes.
And so were you employed as a member of the crime scene unit with the sheriff's office on February 16th of 2020?
That's correct.
Okay, and on that day, were you dispatched to the 7718 Winsford Drive location?
I was.
And was that location located in Bear County, Texas?
It is.
Do you recall what type of location that was?
I recall that it's a single story structure. And it also had an additional structure in the back. What I thought would have been when the property was initially built, it looked like it would have been a garage. But however, it was converted into somewhere, living space where someone could actually live back there.
And do you recall why you were dispatched to that location?
It's for shooting.
And when you're dispatched to a location, is there a sheriff's office case number that's assigned to that call?
That's correct.
And do you recall what that case number was in this particular case?
I do not know off the top of my head.
At the time that you responded or shortly thereafter, did you generate a report of what you did on the scene?
Not immediately, but once the scene has been processed and all the evidence has been collected, I've done everything that needs to be done at the scene. I'm gonna have a conversation with the investigator and the supervisor. We're gonna sit down and have a conversation as to, how things went. If everything that needed to be collected was collected, if all the tasks that needed to be done were done and done correctly. And if so, I'm gonna take my evidence, return to my office, which is located downtown, 200 North Mile. And I'm gonna start processing the evidence that I've collected and downloading my photos.
Okay. But regarding the report, would it help refresh your memory if you were able to look at a copy of that as regards to the case number since given?
Yes. And I will subsequently do a report once everything's been done. It's not something I do right off the bat.
All right, so I'm gonna show you what has been labeled for identification purposes as State's Exhibit D. Can you take a look at this for me? And does this appear to be a fair and accurate depiction of the report that you generated at or near the time you completed your task?
It does.
Okay, and can you just tell the jury what the case number associated with the call that you responded to?
Case number 2023, B as in Bravo, C as in Charlie, S as in Sierra, O as in Oscar, BCSO, which is short for Bear County Sheriff's Office, -003526.
Thank you. And can you just describe to the jury the scene that you encountered upon arrival?
And what I'm gonna do is when I arrive on scene, the first thing I do is I make contact with the first responding officer.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you all ready to switch out? All right, so we're gonna switch out interpreters at this time. Do you need your microphone back?
Yeah.
All right, so he'll take his microphone back. His is the round one, the black one. Yes, on that side.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you for this.
Sure. Okay, thank you. All right. All right, could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm you will faithfully translate from English into Spanish and Spanish into English, so help you God?
I do.
All right, and if you'll lower your hand and state your name for the record?
Norma.
All right, thank you. You may be seated. All right, and I'm sorry, to the witness, if you could just say testing, testing, please.
Testing, testing.
Are you able to hear?
Yes, Judge, thank you.
All right. And state, you may continue.
Okay, so I think we left off on, can you just explain to the jury what your first step was upon arriving at the scene there at 7718 Winsford Drive?
First thing I'm gonna do is, upon my arrival, I'm gonna make contact with first responding that person that's gonna be handling the scene. We're gonna have a conversation as to what he observed when he got there, what he was told, who he spoke with, things of that nature, anything involving the offense or the incident. Once that conversation takes place, we're gonna talk about evidence. If he has any evidence, I'm gonna have him walk me through the scene. And I'm gonna see the same thing that he saw. Okay, and that's happened. I'm gonna begin to mark my evidence, just things that are obvious. I'm gonna mark those items and begin taking my overall photographs. Okay, upon the arrival of the investigator, we're gonna have the same conversation with the investigator. I'm gonna advise him the action that I've taken by marking the evidence. In some cases, I will have marked the evidence as well as photographed the scene. Because I don't have to wait on him just to do my job. I pretty much have an idea what needs to be done. Worst case scenario, he'll arrive and we'll find some other evidence that we didn't initially see or find. And he'll request that I document those items by marking them, photographing them, and eventually collecting them. So that's how it's gonna take place.
And so in this particular case, did you follow your procedure and take photos and video of the crimes?
I did.
Now I'm gonna show you what has been marked as state's exhibit number 2. Can you please take a look at that and tell me if you recognize that?
Yes, this is gonna be the video that I took.
Okay, and have you previously viewed the contents of state's exhibit number 2?
I have.
And did it appear to be a fair and accurate depiction of the recording that you created during your time at the crime scene?
It did.
Okay, and did you sign it when you viewed it to make sure that it's the same thing that you viewed?
That's right.
Okay, and now I'm gonna show you state's exhibits 3 through 62 inclusive. And if you could please just take a look at these and tell me if you recognize them, if they're fair and accurate depiction of the photos you took on the scene. Okay, and so state's exhibits 3 through 62, do those appear to be a fair and accurate depiction of the photos that you took?
That's correct.
Okay, and have you previously viewed state exhibits 2 through 62 in the weeks preceding trial?
Yes,
Okay, and on all of the exhibits 6 through 62 inclusive, did you affix your initials to memorialize that you previously viewed these exhibits?
that's correct.
And at this time, the state offers state exhibits 2 through 62 inclusive and tendering the same to defense for inspection.
Now, Mr. Anderson, looking
Do
at.
you want to
state-
take, you want to take him on board here?
Yes, Judge, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. You may proceed.
So, Mr. Anderson, on State's Exhibit number 2, the video, when did you last look at it?
It's prior to, after processing the scene and prior to coming to court.
And by prior to coming to court, how long before today did you review this?
Not recently,
Give me an estimate, a month ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
soon thereafter, processing the scene, which would have been 2 years ago.
Maybe closer to 3? This happened February 16th of 2023, correct?
Yes, this is very possible.
Um, So you didn't review this prior to today, absent 2.5, almost 3 years.
That's right.
So you can't tell this jury that this accurately depicts everything that you saw 2 to 3 years ago, because you don't know if it's been modified in any way, do you?
That's also correct.
On that ground, I would object, Judge, since he cannot testify that it accurately depicts what he saw on that day today.
State.
Mr. Anderson, so regarding state exhibit number 2, can you take a look at that, please? And you see it, did you place your initials on this disc?
I did.
Okay, and at the time that you watched state exhibit number 2, you recall reviewing it,
I do.
this disc, okay, and so state exhibit number 2, when you affixed your initials to it, it was shown to you prior to trial. I think there may be some confusion, so the last time that you watched it on your own in your employment with the sheriff's office, are you saying that was closer to the off in state in 2023, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, but in preparation for trial, did you have a meeting with me and my office and review the state exhibit number 2?
I can't recall. I think we did, but I can't recall.
So you don't recall reviewing it before you placed your initial?
I would have placed my initials on this disc at the time the disc was downloaded. At the time that I processed my evidence, and I'm gonna submit a copy of this disc to the investigator and or to the DA's office, that's when I initiated. That's when I'm gonna not initiate, but that's when I'm gonna initial my disc.
Okay, but nonetheless, you did review the video, correct?
Correct.
Okay, because remember, we watched it together and we made comment about the beginning.
Could I object to the leading?
Sustained.
Okay, so do you recall watching the video together with me?
I do now.
Okay.
Now you brought it up. I thought you meant, I don't know if you meant immediately prior to trial or
Okay,
soon thereafter, you processing the scene.
okay. So-
Both.
Okay, yeah, so just to summarize, right, after you created the video back in 2023, you watched it on your own, correct?
Correct.
Could I object to improper question?
Overruled.
And then in preparation for trial, when you met with me within the last month in my office,
Could I object to leading?
I need to hear the rest of the question.
we watched it together.
Objection to leading.
All right, overruled.
So at this time, the state offers state's exhibit number 2.
Okay, take them on voir dire, Judge.
Sure.
Okay, so Mr. Calvin, Mr. Anderson. So are you telling this jury now that you reviewed this video within the last month?
Yes,
You sure about that?
yes,
Okay, and when you reviewed it, it accurately depicted what you remember to have been depicted almost 3 years ago.
That's correct.
No objection, Judge.
All right, State's Exhibit number 2 is admitted without objection.
And permission to publish.
Granted. And I'm sorry, were 3 through 62 offered as well or no?
Yes, Judge, but I believe he's still reviewing them, so I'll just.
Yes,
And permission to publish states to Judge.
granted.
Okay, Mr. Anderson, so I'm gonna go ahead and publish the exhibit number 2, which is the crime scene video that you created. You can look to the screen directly to your right, or if you're having issues seeing that, you can turn around and view the fixed screen video, okay? Okay, and can you kind of explain to the jury what they are viewing currently?
Well, it's not a whole lot, and we're having this conversation about the video, I recall me explaining to you that video is not the best quality. Because the cameras that we use, the D75, the Nikon D7500, it's not a great source, it doesn't offer a great source of ambient light, take video, so I recall us having a conversation about the lighting. So at the beginning, a lot of the video is not gonna be very clear. And I can't see that through the lens. I can only see that after I'm downloading the video. So eventually it'll start to clear up. I'll make some adjustments to with the lens and add some light to it. And over a period of time on this video, you'll see that it clears up and it becomes a little bit clearer for you to pick what it is that I'm trying to catch. But at the beginning, it's very, very blurry. It's the scene as it was, same thing, basically the same thing that you're gonna see in the photos. What I'm doing there is I'm trying to capture 2 street signs that intersect right there.
And is that in front of that 7718 Winsford Drive that we were speaking about?
That's correct.
And can you explain to the jury what those yellow placards are?
Those yellow markers were placed there to indicate where shell casings were found.
And so, what has been marked as 1, 2, 3, and 4, that was notated to be shell casings, is that correct?
That's correct.
And can you just explain to the jury what a shell casing is?
Shell casing is basically what most people, common folk know as a bullet. A bullet has a tip for the bullet itself. The casing is the item that holds the powder. Once the powder has been ignited, it causes an explosion, which forces a bullet down the chamber of a weapon.
Okay, and then the shell casing, does it get expelled from the firearm at that
It
time?
well, it depends on the type of weapon that you use. Sometimes semi-automatic weapons, they will automatically eject the shell casing. And then you have rifles that you have to manually eject the shell casing, and then you also have revolvers, or what some people call wheel guns. It's basically a cylinder inside, so a handgun with a cylinder, and it has several rounds in it. And once you fire off all the rounds, you have to manually open the cylinder and eject the casings out of it to replace them with new casings or new rounds.
Thank you. What do we see labeled as E5?
That's a cell phone.
And what are we viewing here?
This is a hole in the structure, in front of the structure, which we refer to as defects.
Were there multiple defects identified in that piece of the house?
Yes, there were.
And these defects that we're seeing from the inside of the home were those consistent with what you documented from the outside of the home.
That's correct.
And at this time, the state is gonna offer state's exhibits 3 through 62.
Any objections?
No objections.
All right, States Exhibit 3 through 62 is admitted without objection. Granted.
Gonna have to do this in a formal fashion. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what has been entered into evidence as state's exhibit number 3. Can you take a look at that and tell me what's that?
Do you need him to step down?
No, because I'm just.
Okay, this depicts, two streets, two intersecting streets, one being Belfast, I believe it's. Windsor and Belfast.
And here's exhibit number 4.
This depicts the front of the residence.
And state's exhibit number 5.
This is a similar picture to, a state's exhibit number 4, with the exception of this plan. I've taken a picture a little bit further to the left.
And state's exhibit number 6.
This is also a picture of, vehicles that were located and that were parked out in front of the, residence.
State's exhibit number 7.
A close-up picture of one of the vehicles that was parked on the street in front of the residence.
State's exhibit number 8.
There's a photograph of the driver's side of a pickup that was parked in front of the residence.
State's exhibit number 9.
This is the rear of the vehicle that was parked in front of the residence.
State's exhibit number 10.
This is a picture of a construction type trailer in the yard on the Bravo side, which if you're facing the residence, you have the opposite side. To the left is going to be the Bravo side. To the rear of the residence is the Charlie side, and to the right is the Delta side. The trailer is parked in the Bravo side, which is to the left of the front of the residence, with the vehicle in the driveway.
Okay. And so the purpose of the photos that we've seen so far is it kind of just orienting the crime scene for the viewer with the 360 and all the cars that are there. Is that correct?
That's right.
What did we see in state's exhibit 11?
We see two pickups parked in the driveway directly in front of the residence with a marker, which is a yellow placard indicating piece of evidence being shell casing. number 4.
And State's Exhibit 12.
This is also a picture of the same 2 vehicles, but with the exception that the shot is taken a little bit further to the right.
And State's Exhibit number 13.
This is a photograph of the vehicle where evidence marker number 4 is located.
And State's Exhibit 14.
It's also a closer shot of marker number 4, evidence number 4 is located.
And State's Exhibit.
And this is yet another close-up of marker number 4, where shell case was located.
We're gonna have to come back to that one. State's Exhibit number 15, what is that depicting?
It depicts a construction type trailer with equipment on it.
Is that 15 or 16?
It's 15. One of them was unmarked, so I'm gonna have to play the predicate. And State's Exhibit 16.
This depicts the trailer to the left, a pickup to the right, 2 markers on the ground in front of the residence leading up to the gate.
And what about State's Exhibit 17?
This photograph depicts pickup truck in the driveway, the open gate, and evidence markers 1, 2, and 3.
And State's Exhibit 18, what is that showing?
This depicts evidence markers number 1 and number 2.
And State's 19, is that a closer up of evidence marker 1?
Right.
And State's Exhibit 20, is that just a closer up of evidence marker number 2?
That's correct.
And what is depicted in State's Exhibit number 21?
This depicts evidence marker number 3, which is also a sale casing.
And is State's Exhibit number 22 just a closer up photo of evidence marker 3?
That's correct.
And what is depicted in State's Exhibit 20?
That depicts cameras that were located on the front of the structure.
And State's Exhibit 24?
This is the shot of the entryway into the area of the second structure with evidence marker number 3 to the left.
State's Exhibit number 25?
This is the first shot that depicts the inside of the area behind the initial residence.
And 26?
This depicts the shot to the left of where I'm standing, where there's a pool table, cell phone, refrigerator, and other property items.
And State's Exhibit 27?
And this depicts the garage door to the right of where I was initially standing.
And State's Exhibit number 28?
This is a close-up photo of evidence marker number 5, which is a cell phone located beneath the pool table, as well as blood.
State's Exhibit 29?
This is a close-up of the blood material, as well as evidence marker number 5.
And State's Exhibit 30?
This is further into the yard, facing the second structure.
And State's Exhibit 31?
Now I'm standing in front of the structure on the, what we call the alpha side. I'm taking a photograph of 2 windows.
State's Exhibit 32?
And this is a closer photograph of the same location, where if you look closely, you can see several defects in the exterior wall.
So it's a close-up of 31?
Not quite. Okay, and then regarding State's Exhibits 33, 34, 35, and 36, are those just closer ups of what we saw in State's Exhibit 32?
That's correct.
And State's Exhibit number 37 and 38, are those just closer ups as well?
Yeah. That's all correct.
And State's Exhibit 39, what is that showing?
That's also a photograph of the same structure that was previously photographed, as well as an item that we located, which I believe was a copper jacket fragment from a projectile.
Okay. And is State's Exhibit 40 just a closer up of that fragment?
That's correct.
And State's Exhibit 41, what is that?
This is an entry door leading into the second structure on the property.
$42.
And this is the first picture that I would have taken standing in the doorway or right inside the doorway of the residence. Second structure.
State's Exhibit 43.
This is also a picture of the same structure, straight ahead from the entryway.
And State's Exhibit 44.
And this will be to the right of the initial picture. The previous picture.
And State's Exhibit 45, is that showing a closer up of the defect in State's Exhibit 44?
Yes,
And State's Exhibit 46, is that a closer up of the defect as well?
that's also correct.
State's Exhibit 47,
This is a room inside the second structure.
State's Exhibit 48,
This is also a bedroom.
and State's Exhibit 49.
This is a bedroom with what appears to be defects in the walls.
And our State's Exhibits 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, and 57 closer ups of those defects located in that room.
That's correct.
And State's Exhibit 58,
At the picture television and what looks to be a computer screen.
and State's Exhibit 59,
That's a close-up picture of the previous computer screen that I mentioned.
and State's Exhibit 60,
That's a box associated with the television and all the computer.
and 61, is that just the information contained on the device depicted in State's Exhibit 60?
That's right.
And then State's Exhibit 62, what is
That's also a picture of the outside of the residence.
and I just need to show you. Yeah, I'm gonna show you State's Exhibit 63 and 64. Do you recognize these? Have you viewed them before, and are they a fair and accurate depiction of what you photographed on scene?
I have reviewed them and they are fair and accurate depiction of life.
Thank you. At this time, state offers State's Exhibit 63 and 64 previously tendered to defense.
No objection.
All right, States Exhibit 63 and 64 are admitted without objection.
And State's Exhibit 63, is that just depicting the front of the 7718 Winsford address and then the structure that was affixed next door?
That's correct.
Okay. And do you know, was that 7716 Winsford?
Can't recall off the top of my head.
Okay. And then State's Exhibit 64, is that just a closer up photo of evidence marker number 4?
That's correct.
Now regarding evidence markers 1 through 4, while you were on scene after you took the photos and did your video, did you collect that evidence?
Not immediately.
Okay, can you just walk us through that process of what you did and how you came to collect that evidence?
What's gonna happen is the evidence remains in place until I have a conversation with an investigator. Here, whoever he or she is. I'm gonna show them what I've been shown, what evidence I've marked. The photos, talk about the photos I've taken and what they were taking. And he and I and the responding deputy, we're gonna do a walkthrough again. So that way he's on the same page as I am, as to what I saw and as well as what I did. And once, again, he may find some other evidence that he's interested in, or some other personal professional items that he may want collected. And at that time, I'll document that item, and once all that's taken place, I'm given the all clear to go ahead and collect those items.
And so after you did the walkthrough with the investigator, the lead investigator that was assigned to this case, did you collect physical evidence under the case number 2023 PCSO 003526?
That's correct.
Sorry, Judge, if I can just. So I'm gonna show you, would you like to come view this? It's exhibit 65 and 60. Now can you take a look at those, see exhibit 65 and 66 for me and open them up and let me know if you recognize it.
You have to have it in gloves.
Oh. Oh, wait, give me one moment. Okay. Now that you've had a chance to review State's Exhibit 65, it contained what I have labeled as State's Exhibit 65A, 65B, 65C, and 65D, and inside of State's Exhibit 65A, 65, excuse me. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 55A, B, C, and D inclusive?
I do.
Okay, and was this property that was seized under the case number 2023 BCSO 003526?
That's correct.
And did you recover this property at that location, 7718 Winsford Drive, on February 16th of 2020?
That's correct.
And regarding State's Exhibits 65A through D, do they all contain your initials, memorializing that you seized this and packed it into the property room?
That's correct.
Okay. And at this time, the state offers State's Exhibits 65 and 65A through D inclusive.
I take them on Bob, here you go.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Anderson, looking at state 65, how do you, first of all, did you yourself recover and inventory these items on that date?
That's correct.
What was the date of the offense that you responded to with CSI?
The day of the offense,
Yes. The date that you responded to this incident.
that would have been February 16th, 2023.
And looking at state 65, that's this envelope, right? It's this one. This number that's up here, what is that? Did you write that?
No, I did not write that.
Okay. And what is this writing in red here?
I have no idea. It's not my writing.
Okay. Did you package these items 1 through 4 like this?
I
In
did.
these envelopes?
That's correct.
Okay, and you put your initials.
That's correct.
Did you put it in this envelope?
I did not.
So this is simply what you recovered and inventoried.
That's correct. It would have been, I would have taken these together, placed them in an envelope like this. That is not.
The envelope.
The
you
envelope.
put in. Okay, but regarding these 4, you did these 4.
That's correct.
Okay, and are they in the exact same position, composition? As to when you did it, or does it look like it's been touched and tampered with?
I have no idea. To me, it looks like the way it would have been when I collected. However, I do know that it's been removed because it would have been tested by another individual.
Now, the writing that's on 65A, the red ink there, is that your writing?
It is not.
Okay, so when I asked you if it looked exactly the same way, it does not, does it?
Not according to the writing.
Well, not according to your testimony that it's exactly the same. It is not exactly the same because people have written on it. On the envelope.
Okay.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And you haven't looked inside this since you inventoried and where did you take these after you packaged them?
Once those items are collected, several things factor into this question. Immediately when I get back to the office, if I don't have another call, I might start processing my evidence right away. Sometimes there's calls holding. In that case, I have a locker that I'm the only one that has access to. It has a lock. I'm the only one that has a key. I'll place those items in that locker until such time I can get back to processing my evidence. Nobody else has access to that locker except myself. When it's convenient, sometimes it's right away. If it's not busy, there aren't calls holding, I can get to it right away. I'll start processing my evidence right away. Sometimes it may take me a day or two, depending on the call volume. I don't recall in this instance whether or not I was able to get to processing my evidence immediately, or if it's something that took place hours later, or maybe a day or so later.
But did you eventually process this?
That's correct.
And after you processed it, what did you do with it?
What I'll do is I'll input all the information that you see on this evidence into the computer. It's telling my property personnel, which is right next door to my office, that I'm gonna be submitting evidence. All the information on these packets goes into the computer, the database that they have access to. They're gonna see that. Eventually, I'll take these items over to them, and they'll input it into the system and store it away until such time that it's ready to come to trial.
And you can tell this jury that these items, these four, 65A, B, C, and D, are the same ones that you processed and submitted.
I can't say that because I have not looked in those envelopes. But again, I do know that they were sent off to the lab by another individual to have those items tested,
Not by you.
not by me.
In that case, Judge, I'm going to object to State's Exhibit number 65 and 65A, B, C, and D as to proper predicates not been laid as to these are exactly the same items that Mr. Anderson here recovered on 2/16 of 20.
All right, that will be overruled. States Exhibit 65, 65A, B, C, and D are admitted.
Okay. So you can go ahead and open up States Exhibits 65A, B, C, and D, which just so the record is clear, this is what was labeled in the photos and videos that we've seen as evidence 1, evidence 2, evidence 3, and evidence 4, correct?
That is correct.
And you've already walked the jury through the process of, once you get back to your office, whether it was hours or a couple of days later, you affix your signature to the package, correct?
That's
And
correct.
that's all present on Stacy Exhibit 65A, 65B, 65C, and 65B, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and then it's placed in the locker and it's the responsibility of the lead detective to get that sent off to the crime.
Object to the leading judge.
Sustained.
Okay. In cases like this, because you've worked in murder cases before, is that right?
That's correct.
All right. Whose responsibility is it to make sure that this evidence gets to the crime lab for testing?
That's gonna be at the request of the investigator, the lead investigator.
Okay. And so your duties are done once you place them in the secure property room, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Now go ahead and please open Case Exhibit 65A through D up.
Sorry.
Can you please remove the item? Okay. And would you just hold that up for the jury to see? And does that appear to be in similar date to when you seized it?
That's correct.
Okay, and that's consistent with the photos we've seen, correct?
That's correct.
Can you please place it back in its envelope? And do the same with State's Exhibit 65B, please. That's State's Exhibit 65C, correct?
That's right.
Yes. I Now regarding State's Exhibit 66 and 66A.
Defense, do you need to approach with regards to 66?
Yes, Judge, just to watch.
Sure. And I'm sorry for interrupting, state that was 66 and what else?
66A, Judge. Is that property that was seized under the case number 2023 BCS 0033526?
That's correct.
Okay, and if you flip 66A over, does that contain the fragment that you previously testified was seized by you on scene on February the 16th of 2023?
Sure.
Okay, will you flip it around, please? Okay, and are those your initials on State's Exhibit 66A?
That's right.
Okay, and just kind of the same thing that we've spoken about earlier. There's a possibility that this could have been sent off by the lead investigator to lab or something. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. Will you go ahead and open that up? Well, Judge, that will. If you could just open it down here, please. All right. Does that appear to be what was marked on scene as State's Exhibit or E6, the fragment that you previously testified to?
That's right.
Okay, Judge, at this time, we offer State's Exhibit 66 and 66A.
Any objection?
I can take them on voir dire, Judge.
Yes, you may proceed.
Now, Mr. Anderson, you looked at the fragment that you pulled out of 66. Do you recognize it?
I do.
What do you recognize it to be?
What appears to be to me is copper jacket fragment.
It's the same copper jacket fragment that you recovered back on February 16th, 2023.
I packaged it and I've not touched it since then. Therefore, I assume that it is. I have no reason to believe otherwise.
Okay, we can't, as you know, we can't assume in court.
That's correct.
So my question stands, do you recognize it to be the same exact thing? Or you don't remember, or you don't know,
I recognize it as being the same thing.
that you recovered on that day?
That's correct.
No objection, Judge.
All right, then States Exhibit 66 and 66A are admitted without objection.
Good. Publish the jury.
Yes.
All right. And so after you see all the physical property, did you already explain to the jury that you package it, mark it as you've seen in the state exhibit, and then put it in the secure locker, your property, or is that correct?
That's correct.
And after that is done, do you have any other duties on it?
I'm gonna eventually write my report once the evidence has been submitted into the property room. I've downloaded my photos and forwarded them to the investigator and the DA's office if that's required. Then I'm gonna start on working on my report.
Okay, and then after your report is finalized and approved, does that kind of conclude your duties in the case?
I'm gonna yes, I'm gonna make sure those individuals that need to get a copy of the report, get their copy, the investigator and that pretty much concludes the case.
Thank you. We pass the witness.
Defense?
Thank you, Judge. So, Mr. Anderson, how many shell casings were recovered by you in total at that scene on February 16th of 2023?
4.
And where exactly were all 4 found? You have them marked as evidence marker 1, evidence marker 2, 3, and 4, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so where was 1 found?
One was found in the front of the residence on the opposite side next to a vehicle parked in the driveway.
Okay.
I was a truck.
Did you do a diagram of the scene?
I did not.
Why not? Your crime scene, correct?
That's correct.
Aren't diagrams normally done of crime scenes?
Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. That's the reason we do video. We do video, we also do light scan. We should picture 360 degree depiction of the scene as it was at the time that we arrived.
And I understand all that. You want to memorialize the scene, correct?
That's correct.
And that's why part of the video's in the dark, because it was dark out there, correct?
That's correct.
And then to make things better so you can actually see something, you used a spotlight or some light, correct?
That's correct.
But my question is, even with that video, you get an idea of the location and the scene, but if there was a diagram, it'd give you a better idea of the actual scene, correct?
I don't know if that is correct. I don't know if the diagram is gonna show anything that the video and the photographs are showing.
Well, let me ask you this. If you had done a diagram, you could have marked where evidence marker 1, 2, 3, and 4 were found exactly, couldn't you?
I can agree to that.
So that's a yes,
Yes,
but it wasn't done.
that's correct.
So now I have to ask you, without the jury being able to see exactly where evidence marker 1 was, so you say it was found by the vehicle that was outside the residence
That's correct.
in the driveway.
That's correct.
So was the driveway outside of where that wooden gate was?
That's correct.
Was there only one entrance and one exit to that residence?
I don't know that.
You don't recall.
I don't recall.
But if you had done a diagram, it would have had all of the entrances and the exits, correct?
That's correct.
So let's talk about, okay, so evidence marker 1 was outside of the residence on the driveway. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Tell us about evidence marker number 2. Where was that found?
It was also found outside the residence, outside of the gate,
Okay,
in
where?
the area of the driveway next to the same pickup truck.
So it was 1 and 2 were close in proximity.
To each other, that's correct.
What about evidence marker number 3?
Evidence marker number 3 was a little further in, right, at the entrance of the gate, leading into what would be the second structure.
Okay, so it was inside the gate or just at the entrance of the gate?
I believe it was at the entrance to the gate.
What about evidence marker number 4?
Evidence marker number 4 was located under a second vehicle that was to the right of the first vehicle that I mentioned, where 1 and 2 and 3 were found.
So it was
So
outside the
second vehicle
gate.
was outside the gate as well, to the right of the first pickup truck and beneath that vehicle.
And these are all spent shell casings, correct?
That's correct.
Were any bullets recovered?
No,
Okay.
not by me.
And the fragment that you found, was that of a casing or of a bullet?
It was of a bullet. I suspected it was of a bullet.
Okay, but you're not sure.
That's correct.
Could it have been a fragment of a spent shell casing?
Not the cases that I collected.
But could it have been?
I can't say that it could have.
And you can't say it could not have, correct?
That's also correct.
So let me ask you this, regarding this crime scene that you went and you took, these spent shell casings, you don't know when they were put there, correct?
That's correct.
They could have been there from the shooting of this victim, correct?
That's correct.
They could have been there prior to a date of when this victim was shot. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Now let's talk about the defects in the walls. There were several, correct?
That's correct.
Depicted on the video and in the photos, correct?
That's correct.
You don't know when those defects were placed into that wall, do you?
I do not.
They could have been there from the shooting of the victim on February 16th of 23, if he was in fact shot on that day, correct?
That's correct.
They could have been from a couple days earlier, right?
That's correct.
They could have been from a year earlier when some idiot drove by and shot up the house, correct?
That's correct.
Could have been from several years earlier. You can't tell this jury when they were placed there, right?
That's correct.
Regarding the video by the pool table where we see blood, correct? There's like 3 or 4 spots of blood, and then you say there's a phone on the ground. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Did you check to see if there was a blood trail from anywhere leading to that pool table with the blood on the floor?
I believe that I looked to see if there was blood leaving from that area outward, but I wouldn't have known that. Well, I would see it on the way into that area, but I don't recall if I actually remember seeing any blood leading in there.
Okay. Well, your job as the crime scene investigator with CSI is to find the crime scene and memorialize anything that could possibly help in telling what happened, right?
That's correct.
And a blood trail would have assisted in that, wouldn't it?
That's correct.
So is it that you didn't see any blood trail, or you didn't look for a blood trail, or you're not sure and you don't know?
I would have looked for it, but I don't recall whether or not I remember. I don't recall if I remember seeing blood leading into the area of the pool table or leading from the area of the pool table out towards the front yard and away from that area.
Let me ask you, we looked at this video together. Did you walk the entire grounds of that residence with your video camera?
I did not,
Why not?
because when I had a conversation with the patrolman, the responding patrolman, and the investigator, I'm going to focus on what I'm told, primarily what I'm told, which is where the offenses basically occurred, unless there's something that's relevant outside of that immediate area.
And so when the prosecutor introduced you to this jury and was asking you kind of pedigree information about your background. You talked about you had been with the Bear County Sheriff's Office approximately 34 years, correct?
That's correct.
And 9 years at the jail, is that right?
Yes,
And then 9 to 10 years on patrol. Right?
yes,
So you did what the patrol officers did that you encountered that day and had a conference about what happened. Am I right?
that's correct.
But you should know, having been on the patrol for 9 to 10 years, that their job is to get there, especially if they're the first responders, and see what they can do about this victim who was shot, correct?
That's correct.
And then they're not running around the location looking for evidence. They're dealing with the victim, trying to save the victim's life, and then securing the scene. Am I right?
That's correct.
So they're not like the crime scene expert, correct?
That's correct. Soon after they're done with evacuating the injured party, then it's up to that patrolman to start looking for items of evidence, whether it's projectiles, weapons, blood evidence, defects, any of that. All that's gonna come into play. The initial thing that needs to be taken care of is if you have victims, the victims need to be addressed.
And
Let's say
that makes sense.
And once that's been done, then he's gonna secure the scene. Well, he's gonna secure the scene as soon as reasonably possible. And once the medical personnel have done what it is that they need to do, whether it's transport a person or if their person has expired at the scene, they'll leave them there, have them covered and that. And then the officer's gonna go around and start looking for, again, weapons, items of evidence, whether it's weapons, shell casings, whatever it is.
Well, would it surprise you that the responding officer here didn't really do that?
I wouldn't know that.
Right, but would it surprise you?
It would surprise me.
So there's a possibility that nobody walked around this location looking for a blood trail. Is that right?
I don't know that.
But there is a possibility, if we know you didn't do it, and if we know the reporting officer, the first responding officer, didn't do it, then nobody did, correct?
Again, I can't answer that question. I haven't spoken to anybody outside of you as far as blood trails.
So to your knowledge, if you didn't look for blood trails, and I'm telling you the responding officer didn't, then nobody did. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Now, in your video and in your photo, you have the cell phone on the ground by the pool table, correct?
That's correct.
If it was in the victim's hand, should it have stayed in the victim's hand or should it have been placed somewhere other than on the ground there?
That's not a call that I'm in a position to make, because I don't know where the phone was prior to my arrival.
And you had a conversation, didn't you? You had a convo with the first responding officer as to the evidence. Am I right?
That's correct.
And you were never told that that phone was in the victim's hand, were you?
I don't recall having a conversation with the first responding officer.
Well, didn't you tell us that when you get there, you speak to the responding officer regarding what happened? He walks you through what happened, and then you go and you do your job, and then you have a convo with the detective who shows up to make sure you're on the same page. Isn't that what you testified to?
That's correct.
Okay, so you did speak to the responding officer, didn't you?
I did.
Which officer was that?
I believe it was Deputy Pettis.
Did you put that in your report?
I believe it is.
Yes. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard some evidence at this point. You are not allowed to discuss anything that you've heard amongst yourselves or with anyone else. I'm going to give you all a break and we'll be back in 10 minutes. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors. And thank you for letting me know. Oh, you all can head out the door.
It's this.
Yes, it's the.
Everybody goes.
Okay, Father, with welcome.
Oh, just give us a moment to the jurors,
Sure.
then you'll be able to go. Oh, sir. I want to take those mics off, please. Sir, you have to go out the door. No, you're not allowed to speak to anyone. Oh, you all don't have to sit in the same seats. There's no assigned seating. Yes, okay. All right, everyone, please be seated. And state you may continue.
Actually, I think I was.
Oh, so it was defense. I'm so sorry. Defense, you may
Okay.
continue.
So regarding the spent shell casings, to your knowledge, were fingerprints ever checked on those?
Not to my knowledge.
That would have been something the detective would have sent for, correct?
That's correct.
And at that location on that day, February 16th of 2023, it's Winsford, right?
Yes,
Did you recover any firearms at that location?
I did not.
Regarding 66A, which is the fragment, where was that recovered?
Is recovered in the front of the second structure. Right at the, on top of the grass, on the opposite side of the second structure, which is the second building
Right.
inside. Right in between two windows.
And just like the other items that you recovered, you don't know if that had been there already, correct?
That is correct.
Could have been there hours,
That's correct.
could have been there days,
That's correct.
months,
That's correct.
even years.
That is correct.
And you talked about the prosecutor asked you if the defects were consistent, meaning the bullet holes in the walls, correct?
That's correct.
And when she asked you about it being consistent, what did you mean by consistent?
She asked me if the defects, looking at them from the inside of that structure, could be consistent with what I observed on the outside.
Meaning it was the same bullet going through.
Going through.
Did you do scene recreation where you put a pole or stick through to see where the angles were coming from?
No, I did not.
In fact, you didn't even go through the wall to recover any fragments or bullets that were still in the wall, if they were, correct?
That's correct.
Whose decision was that not to do that?
Well, a lot of times what happens is if there's an entry and an exit, and that's not always the case, but a lot of times when we found that when there's an entry and an exit defect, we'll look for a projectile on either side of that defect, see whether or not a projectile may have landed on the inside of the structure or somewhere else that we weren't aware of, as well as on the outside.
Did you look for any bullets lying around inside the structure?
Yes, we did.
Okay, I'm just asking about you, not anyone else.
Yes,
And did you do that in the dark with just your light, your flashlight, or did you turn lights on to actually look?
the lights are on.
But the lights were on in that video, correct?
Yes.
And it was still dark in there, right? Except where the flashlights illuminated?
What area are you referring to?
Well, in your video of the scene,
I thought we were referring to the inside of the second structure.
right, inside of the second structure also.
That's,
Was it fully lit?
yes,
And you found no bullets on the ground?
no.
Nothing further for this witness, Judge.
State.
No further questions.
All right, is this witness excused or subject to recall?
Subject to recall, Judge.
All right, just make sure you're available if either party wishes to recall you. And the exhibits, if you'll make sure those are left with the court reporter, and if you will remove the microphone. Thank you.
Yeah.
And State, you can call your next witness.
It calls Dr. Ward.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, if you'll lower your hand, there's a square microphone up there. If you'll place it somewhere in your blouse. All right, and if you could just say the words test, test, I want to make sure that the interpreter is able to hear you.
Test, test.
All right, I'll need you to speak louder than that. Okay, if you could say it again, please.
Test, test.
All right, thank you. All right, if you'll state your name for the record and spell your last name, please.
Tabitha Ward, Ward.
State, you may proceed.
Dr. Ward, how are you currently employed? I am a forensic pathologist or medical examiner at the Bear County Medical Examiner's Office. And what is forensic pathology? Forensic pathology is a subspecialty of pathology. So pathology is the study of disease and injury, and then forensic pathology deals specifically with medical legal cases. Primarily, we look at non-natural deaths, but we also look into natural deaths where the person was unexpected to die. So somebody who may not have a physician or died suddenly would also fall under our jurisdiction. Okay. And what are your duties as a medical examiner with the Bear County Medical Examiner's Office? So I perform autopsies, external exams, occasionally focused exams where I might only examine the head of a person, depending on their history. From that, we generate paperwork, autopsy reports. We communicate with families to discuss cause and manner of death. We communicate with interested parties, if it's attorneys or law enforcement, sometimes physicians. And I'm also the fellowship director at our office, so I'm in charge of training other doctors who are interested in the field of forensic pathology. Okay. And how long have you been in the field? Including fellowship, 6 years. Okay. Can you please describe to the degree your educational background that qualifies you to be a forensic pathologist? I've got a Bachelor of Science in microbiology with a minor in chemistry from the University of Houston downtown. I then went on to get my MD degree at UT Houston McGovern Medical School. After that, I did a combined anatomic and clinical pathology residency at Baylor College of Medicine, and then did a 1-year forensic pathology fellowship at the Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences. Okay. And I know you said that in your duties you perform autopsies, but can you please explain to the jury what an autopsy is? So an autopsy is a physical exam of a person who has passed away. So it's very similar to going to a primary care doctor as far as the outside of the exam, And we gather history, medical history, injury history, and then we look at the person from top to bottom, examine them for any natural disease, any injuries, any identifying marks, scars, tattoos, things like that. And then we move on to an internal portion of the exam for a full autopsy. So we do look at the brain and we look at the organs that are in the torso.
And approximately how many autopsies have you performed in your
At least 800.
career? Okay. And have you previously testified in your field of forensic pathology?
Yes.
And would that include in testimony in courts in this county?
Yes.
Okay. And can you explain to the jury what manners of death are?
So in Texas, there are 5 manners of death, and there are natural deaths, suicides, accidents, homicides, and then we have a 5th option, which is undetermined. And there's a variety of reasons why a manner of death may be undetermined.
Now, on February 17th of 2023 at around 8:35 a.m., did you conduct an autopsy on a Daniel Valladares Fernandez?
Yes.
Okay. And what was his age?
He was 32 years old at the time of death.
And what was his sex?
Male.
And did you confirm his identity through fingerprints with GPS?
Yes.
Can you explain to the jury the condition in which you received the body?
So he came from a hospital, so he was received nude. And at a later time, we were able to get some of his clothing and property for examination. But initially he came with no clothing and no property.
And once the body is received at the medical examiner's office, is the body assigned to a unique identifier?
Yes, so we assign a case number as the body is received. It starts with the year, and then basically people are just assigned numbers one by one.
Okay. And do you recall what was the case number assigned to this case?
His case number is 2023-043.
04.
Oh, I'm sorry, 0432.
And can you explain to the jury the general condition of the body when you began your autopsy?
So he was received with a single gunshot wound, nude. He had some evidence of medical intervention. He had been at the hospital. They had done some procedures, attempted life-saving procedures.
Okay. And as part of your, duties or while the body was in your custody, did you also review medical records that were assigned to him?
Yes.
Okay. And did that come over from the hospital?
Yes.
Now, regarding the evidence of injury, can you please explain to the jury what evidence you notated during your autopsy?
Had a single gunshot wound of the torso. There was an entrance gunshot wound on the upper back, and the projectile injured one of the posterior ribs, the left lung, and the left pulmonary artery, which is a large vessel in the lung, and an anterior rib as well. And then there was an exit wound on the left chest.
Okay. Were you able to ascertain the direction of travel of bullet?
The travel of the bullet appeared to be from right to left and back to front.
And when you conducted your autopsy, did you take photos of what we just discussed?
Yes.
All right.
So I'm gonna show you what has been marked as States Exhibits 67 through 74 inclusive. If you could just take a look at those and tell me if you recognize them.
I'm sorry, what were the exhibit numbers?
It was 67 through 74 inclusive, Judge.
All right, thank you. In defense, if you need to move around, you're more than welcome to do so.
Okay, do you recognize these States Exhibits?
Yes.
And are they a fair and accurate copy of the photos that you took during your context examination?
Yes.
At this time, the state offers States Exhibit 67 through 74 inclusive. And I've tendered to defense. for information.
A reproach, Judge.
Yes. Offer the exhibits you're intending to admit or seeking to admit.
Judge, at this time, we are offering States Exhibit 67 and 68, and then 70 through 74 inclusive.
Any objections?
No objections, Judge.
Quickly admitted.
Thank you. So we're gonna have to do this a little old school because the projector's not working, but just regarding States Exhibit 67, what is this showing?
This is our, sorry. This is our identification photo. So this is a picture of the decedent, his facial profile with our case number underneath.
And that case number is what you previously testified to 2023-0432.
Yes.
And regarding States Exhibit 68, what is depicted in this photo?
This is a photograph of our sealed body bag prior to the exam. So this is the bag that the body is transported in from the hospital.
I'm sorry, excuse me, if you'll keep your voice up so the interpreter can hear, please. If you'll just speak into that microphone.
Oh, it is this one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was like.
And
You just pull
adjust
pull it down.
So that is a body transport bag that the decedent was taken from the hospital to our office in.
And States Exhibit 70.
This is a picture of the decedent's back with the gunshot wound entrance.
Okay.
And the entrance is notated here.
Yes,
And states note 71, is that just showing the lower half of the decedent's body?
yes.
And states exhibit 72, is that, what is that?
That is the entrance wound
Okay.
from the back.
So that's a closer up of the entry wound that we see in states exhibit 70, is that correct?
Yes.
And states exhibit 73, what is depicted in this photo?
This is a photo of the decedent from the front. And this photo is not a traditional photo. You can see that there's a Y incision there that's been sutured. The camera card during this autopsy was corrupt, so some of the photos were retaken after the exam. So that's why you can see those coarse sutures there.
Okay. And then this that I'm pointing at, is that the exit wound that was notated?
That is the exit wound.
Okay, and it states exhibit 74, just a closer up of that exit wound.
Yes.
Now, regarding your examination. Aside from the catastrophic injuries that we've just published to the jury, was there any evidence of disease that would have prevented Mr. Valadares from living at the time that he received the gunshot wound?
No.
And so did you perform toxicology at the time of your autopsy?
Yes.
And what were the results of that?
He had a cocaine level of 0.16 milligrams per liter. And then he had 2 cocaine metabolites in his blood as well.
Now with that toxicology that you performed, are you able to tell when that substance was ingested or how?
No, cocaine generally leaves the system within about 24 hours to 48 hours. So I can say sort of within that time frame, but no, as far as the actual time of ingestion.
Okay. And so in your findings, did you find that the gunshot wound alone was sufficient to cause death with the entry, exit, and pathway that it traveled?
Yes.
Okay. And the injuries that you described it caused through its path of travel, is that correct?
Correct.
And so what were your findings as to the manner of death of Daniel Valadares Fernandez?
The manner of death in this case would be homicide.
And based on your autopsy, do you have an opinion as to the cause of death?
The cause of death was gunshot wound.
When we pass the witness here.
Defense.
Thank you, Judge. Do I address you as doctor?
Yeah.
So Dr. Wood, you testified about the entrance and the exit wound, and you used the photos that are in evidence. How do you determine what's an exit wound and what's an entrance wound?
So entrance and exit are determined by a variety of factors. What they look like can depend on the type of weapon, where they are on the body. For this particular case, the entrance and exit wound were both pretty round. So what happens is when a bullet goes through the body, as it's piercing tissues or bones, it starts to wobble a bit. So what you generally see is a very circular, sort of clean looking entrance wound, and then maybe a little bit more irregular exit wound. So in this case, the entrance wound was a nice circle, but the exit wound was also a pretty regular oval. So some of the other factors that contributed to designating entrance and exit were bone beveling. So when a bullet passes through a bone, oftentimes it will sort of punch out the bone on the opposite side of where it's headed. So if it's coming this way, we call it external beveling on the opposite side. And so some of his ribs showed that beveling. This was sort of traveling along that direction and back to front.
So you feel confident, and you did this after you opened up the body.
So we look at the entrance and exit before, and then the bones after.
Right, and your testimony was the entrance and the exit wounds were pretty similar.
Correct.
So it was when you opened him up that you were to see the damage on the inside.
Correct.
where there was ricocheting?
Not so much ricocheting, so it's basically the way that the bone is injured as the bullet passes through, and it's not the case for every bone. Sort of the classic examples are in the skull where the bone is nice and flat, maybe a little bit rounded. But another place that you can see it is also in ribs, because they do have a little bit more of a flat surface.
And based on what you examined that day on your table, you feel confident as to which was the entrance and which was the exit?
Yes, sir.
So you're telling this jury that within 24 hours, the deceased in this case had ingested cocaine somehow?
Likely, yes.
And is 0.16 milligrams of a liter a lot of cocaine?
So for my purposes, I look at cocaine deaths typically, and really any amount of cocaine can kill you. And we find cocaine toxicology deaths with very small amounts sometimes. Now, as far as this amount and what it means in this person, it really just depends on the person and the day as far as behavior goes. I will say that this amount is one that we typically see in people that are dying of other causes, but could easily be a cause of death by itself in a different case.
If there weren't bullet holes, then maybe.
Correct.
Now, was gunshot residue testing done on the decedent?
I believe I saw that somewhere in a note. We do not do GFR testing at our office.
Do you have your report with you?
My autopsy report, yes.
Would there be any information regarding that as to any gunshot residue testing?
No, I do not evaluate gunshot residue testing at all.
And you can't even tell this jury exactly, well, you can, when he died, correct? Because of the hospital.
Right.
They call the time of death.
Correct.
But you can't tell this jury how long the decedent began on this journey where he was shot, correct? You can't tell this jury what time exactly the decedent was shot.
So the exact time, no, because he was shot in a pulmonary artery, which is a large vessel, that wouldn't be something that you could survive very long afterwards. So presumably would have begun dying within minutes from that gunshot wound.
Because the officers arrived at the scene of this case at about 8:28 p.m. And what was the time of death?
Time of death was 8:35 a.m. I'm sorry.
8:35
Oh,
a.m.
no, I'm so sorry. I'm looking at my autopsy report. Let me find his. His time of death is 9:12 p.m.
Okay. So we knew the officers got there at 8:28 p.m. and he died at the hospital at 9:12 p.m., correct?
Correct.
So that's what? 32, 40, 44 minutes later.
Correct. So that is the pronounced time of death.
Correct. But as far as how long he was at that location before anyone found him, based on what you're telling me, it couldn't have been days, right?
That's correct.
But what's the longest it could have been, in your opinion?
So I don't have his EMS report here. I'm not sure what condition he would have looked like, but typically 45 minutes of CPR in a young, healthy-ish person.
is kind of standard. If it looks like they were trying different things to kind of bring him back. I'm assuming they were probably starting CPR at the scene just because of the severity of the injury. So I would say probably minutes before him losing pulses and needing resuscitation.
And you're all about the science, correct?
I guess so.
So, I mean, you're not involved in this case to tell this jury who committed this murder, correct?
That is correct.
You have no personal knowledge.
That is correct.
You just look at bodies and the toxicology and the entrance and exit wounds, and you determine the cause of death, not who committed that crime.
My duty is to the decedent to determine their cause of manner of death.
So as you sit there, you can't say that my client here, Marco, committed this murder, right?
That is correct.
Nothing further.
State,
No further questions and excused by statement.
all right, excused.
Excused.
All right, if you will leave the exhibits with the court reporter, please, and if you'll leave her microphone behind. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to excuse you for today. I'm going to ask that you all be back here tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. This is the issue. The same number of jurors that came up with y'all this morning are going to be the same number of jurors who come up tomorrow. And whoever designed the parking garage didn't do simple math. So if you want to be assured of having a parking space, you probably need to get here by about 8:30. Okay? You will not report downstairs. Will not report in the hallway. You will report in the jury room. In the jury room, there's a refrigerator, there's a microwave, there's a toaster. You can bring, there's a toasting oven. You can bring your lunch, breakfast, however you want to do it. I'm not in control of the temperature in this courtroom. There's a thermostat behind me. Doesn't work. It's just a placebo. So if we want to help people, sometimes I'll get up and adjust it for you, but it doesn't control anything. So you're more than welcome to bring a jacket. I know that those seats are uncomfortable. There are some pillows in the back, but there's not enough for everyone here. So if you have a pillow or something you want to bring from home, you're more than welcome to do that. And because we started with testimony right after selection, these are my free rules. Number one, if you ever need a break, let us know, because otherwise we won't know and we'll keep going. So you can either do the break sign, I'll see it, or either the attorneys, usually they see it before I do. The other thing is, everything you need to know about this case has come from inside this courtroom and nowhere else. Do not think about this case outside of sitting in those seats in the box. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Don't Google anybody's name, don't view anything, don't look at anything. The other thing, if you feel like there's a question that you need to know the answer to, you're not allowed to ask questions. I bring that up because we had somebody before on a jury, a witness said, hey, my Tia said, and then a juror was like, hey, what is a Tia? I'm like, you can't do that. So you're not allowed to ask any questions. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to see you all back here tomorrow at 9:30. If you all show up and you're here at 9 and everybody's here at 9, we'll start at 9. All right, we cannot start unless everybody is here, okay? All right, thank you so much. Everyone, please rise for the jurors. On the last person out, if you could close that door once you step out. Thank you so much. Right, so attorney asked that you all be here at 9, just in case they decide to show up at 9. And to the interpreter, if you all are able to send someone down by 9, is that possible? Yeah. All right, thank you.
There's gonna be multiple scanners